Hello again. This afternoon, the Women's Caucus in Parliament, led by its chairperson and Ada MP Comfort Doyo Kujo, is mounting a firm push to safeguard seats held by female MPs. She argues the era of routinely targeting women's seats must give way to deliberate efforts to protect and expand female representation in Parliament. The key question for many political watchers is whether this call is fair and what it could mean for Ghana's growing democracy. Fortunately, we're joined by the woman herself in our studio this afternoon to clarify her position. Madam Chairperson, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. We're welcome.
Thank you. You've
been training for the past 3-4 days because you made a statement that women's seats in Parliament should be protected and that men shouldn't come near it. Can you clarify that for us?
Yes, thank you. In fact, when we went, I led the delegation of women parliamentarians to UN. When we got there, the statistics that was there, women in politics, you can see that 188 countries globally, Ghana is at 149. And those who did well are in blue. You can see the blue lines.
Yeah.
Then you see the brown and then the golden brown. So Ghana is 149.
Are we in the red line?
Yeah. No, we are not really in the red line, but almost. So if they are doing exams and 188 people are writing exams and you come home with 149, who will clap for you? Nobody will clap for you. So I was sad because I'm the leader of the Women Caucus. 8th Parliament, MPP gave us 20 women, NDC gave us 20 women. We went for elections only to come back. MPP came back with only 10. They have wiped 10 away, while we improved by 11. So we had 31 and they have 10. So from 8th Parliament to 9th Parliament, we did just one increase by one. And we have been struggling for these women to survive. 276 seats. And women have only 41. So if we cannot do anything about it, then we should protect the 41. Because let me tell you frankly that even the first-timers women who have joined us, when they come to Parliament, they weep like babies.
Why?
Because men have already started lacing their shoes, and as they are in the chamber working, they are working against them. They are saying all sorts of things. And what women hate in their life to hear is, or is this, is that, is this. Women are too emotional.
The women MPs are getting those comments?
I'm telling you, they
From
are.
Who?
From their main counterparts, you see.
Within their parties?
Within their parties. So what we are saying is, Rwanda is able to do it. Tanzania is able to do it. Uganda is able to do it. Kenya is able to do it. How did they do it? Let's investigate how they managed to do it, to protect seats for women, to get seats for women. Bangladesh and other countries, they were able to do it. If we cannot do it, then the 41, let's protect it. And I'm not speaking as NDC, I'm speaking as chairperson for the Women Caucus. In Parliament, the chairperson for the Women Caucus presides over both MPP and NDC and all parties that are in Parliament. So I'm speaking as chairperson for the Women Caucus. We are going to start the consultation. I've already started booking appointments with the Speaker. We'll go to the President. We'll see the political heads, that's both MPP, NDC. We'll do broader consultation. And after we'll see the civil society and other groups that are in support, so that we look at how to move a motion in the House, so that that motion we can get the expansion. Rwanda didn't get it by magic. Kenya didn't get it by magic. Tanzania didn't get it by magic. They know the women are vulnerable when it comes to politics. So they worked something out, and something worked the magic before they were able to do it. So all I'm saying is we are not looking for equality, just equity. If at least women, we can get about 60 and leave this golden brown line. Those who are not in the golden brown line are good to go. When you go to such conferences, you can make a good case. So that we can make a good case. People are making good cases because they are performing well as women and they are bringing good things to their community. How can you be in the brown line and go and make a good case there? I was there as a leader of the delegation to the UN. I couldn't make any good case because I have a bad case at home. So we have to work on it and make sure we make a good case for Ghana. It's for Ghana and it's for women. Right. So I'm not saying no men should contest, but all we are pleading is we are not saying equality. We didn't say give us 130, 132, 133, or maybe 130. No. At least if we can say we are protecting these women so that we get about 60, and we cannot do anything at all, then why should you touch the 41? Which means they want to wipe all of us away.
So now there are 41 women in Parliament, yes. 31 NDC, 10 from the MPP. You say you want them protected. How? How do you want them protected?
Yeah, we can protect them at the primaries so that a woman should contest the woman. When the other woman wins, if the woman is not performing in Parliament, a woman should replace her. So that the general election, if the other party is bringing a man, fine, we'll go and campaign for the woman so that she can come back to the house. But in our parties, they should protect us, the 41 that is there, so that we can protect all. Let's judge and see which sponsors should come in so that we go to Kenya. I will lead a delegation with some of the CSOs and other athletes who believe in championing women cause. We can go and do a case studies in these countries so that we can also do something about women, increase in women in Parliament.
At the beginning of our conversation, I said that you were trending on social media for the past few days, and that was indeed factual. And some of the comments that I read was that, why should a woman be protected when she is not performing? Most of the people are saying that you have made the case that it should be replaced with a woman, but most people are saying that if I am going to the polls, I'm going to the polls to elect the most competent person, irrespective of the agenda, whether they are male or female. So why should parties impose a female on me when I have to make the choice of the person that I want? Why should it matter whether the person who is contesting is a male or a female?
The men should take it easy with us. They should know we are more than them. Just that the women, we are not united. If we were to be united, these men will beg us before they get somewhere. They are our babies. Whoever they are, we give birth to them. We are making an appeal that our number in the chamber is not the best.
Is that not emotional blackmail?
It's not emotional blackmail. It's a fact.
Okay.
And the fact is here.
Uh-huh.
It's a fact, and the fact is here. What we are saying is we want to increase our number at least to 60. If not, then let's protect the 41. Look, that's why I'm saying we will do a lot of broader consultation. Wherever there will be women MP, the political parties can give assurance that the men are covered by giving them ministerial positions, CEOs, ambassadors, and other things, so that we can get the number of women we needed in the chamber. If even the man will come, is it not one man? There are some constituencies, we have one man there who is not a female, but they don't have ministerial position over there. But if there will be assurance, that's why I'm saying we are going to move a motion, but we will do broader consultation. This recess will start booking appointment with those who matter, and we'll start sitting with them and do a lot so that the men will not fear and panic that as the women are going on our behalf, which means the men in those constituencies will be left behind. No. Wherever there is a female MP, the female MP's constituency, at least there should be 3 or 4 opportunities that men too in that area can benefit. You see, if we do it well, even a lot of people will say, okay, let's push the woman so that we can also get some opportunities around her. There should be opportunities around every female MP. You see, so that would ginger the men. They will even carry us on their shoulders that, hey, we want her to go so that we get this and that and that. You see,
right.
There is a lot that we can put on the table and then put there for the constituency to appreciate and then bring the women. You see, at times too is financial problem. At times too is the name calling.
But the financial problem, the parties have made it more flexible for women to contest the primaries than the men, because usually
it's not about a few.
What is it about?
Oh, it's about the campaign. Very expensive.
Women don't have funds to campaign.
A lot of them, and if the constituency agree that we have agreed we are going for a woman, and once there is an agreement that if a female MP comes from your constituency, you have these opportunities, then we will allow. And they themselves will even campaign without stress for you, the female MP. There's a lot of things we can do. You think Rwanda achieved it on a silver platter? No.
Yes, I want us to talk about Rwanda, Kenya, Bangladesh, and the other countries that you mentioned.
Sudan, we can go to all those places.
What can we learn from them? Have you investigated what they did right that has sort of given them parity when it comes to women representatives? By all means, there was something that they put in place that is very amazing, and the men feel that, okay, let's allow our women to go. You see, so we will go and do all those, we will consult everybody. We are not just going to put a motion that will affect our men. The men, as I said, they are our children. I have 3 boys, I have 3 girls. So I cannot do anything against any man or any boy. If I'm doing it against my own baby. But what I'm saying is, let's put some things on the table, some benefits. Benefits that it comes with. Benefit, what benefit do we think we can put there? So that the men will be happy. That, look, if I go as a MP, as a man, I will be individual over there. But if we send a woman, these are the benefits that goes with it. But wouldn't that also put the men at a disadvantage in the future?
No.
Why?
The reason is, maybe I'm an MP. You are also a minister. You have interest to be an MP, but they make you a minister. You have interest to be an MP. You are how do they call it? CEO of a good company. You are an ambassador. Right. Is it not the same thing? Just all that we want is to increase the number in Parliament. I
want us to stay a bit longer in Parliament. Since 1992, we've had at least some women represent their constituents in Parliament. I've seen the likes of Sarah Adwoasafo become Deputy Majority Leader. Now we have Patricia Appiagyei, who is a Deputy Minority Leader. Yourself, you're also a Deputy Majority Chief Whip. What has been the impact of women leadership in Parliament since 1992?
A lot.
Tell us.
If you look at all the bills that we have passed, or any time they bring the bills to the chamber, we make sure that wherever they have to put a woman, maybe they will say 3 directors, then we say, okay, at least 1 woman. We push it there. So we have been doing all those things, and anything that will benefit women, we stand firmly. Do
I get a sense that the women MPs in Parliament are all about just championing women?
No, because we are in the minority. We are always in the minority. So all we need to do is to, at times the men, they even forget that the women exist. When they are seriously working, at times, so when we come in, then they remember that, hey, the women are here. You see, but I would like to thank the current speaker, because Speaker Bagwin, he put his feet down and we passed the Affirmative Act. So now that we have the act and we push this one in addition, it will give us some leverage. And we are still working on it so that whoever, this current president has already done what he could do, because this act came at his neck when he was about to come in.
The affirmative action law, you mean?
So the next president that will come, to me, we should sit as women so that we make sure everything that we need to do when it comes to employment, when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to even political leadership. Political leadership. I'm yet to see a woman who is a regional chairman. I'm yet to see a woman who is a national chairman.
Oh, but we have Janet Nabla, who is the leader of PMP. We've had the likes of Amasapon Kumankoma. She led the CPP. We also had...
because those political parties are not vibrant, you don't hear of them. So they are not getting the opportunity to do what they need to do as women.
But at least we need to start from somewhere, and we've seen progress from that side. I'm
yet to see...
The major parties.
The major parties. NDC, MPP.
Let's go to Adan, where you are MP. Before you, there have been numerous men who've occupied the seat in Adan constituency. Since you've been MP as a woman, what have you been able to do, would you say differently or better than your predecessors who were men?
A lot.
Tell me some.
A lot. Just get a full day for me, because what I've done what I've been able to achieve in Adan cannot be discussed within 30 minutes. I've done a lot of changes, and I've done a lot of improvements. You need the first MP did 3 terms. Then the second one did 2 terms also. I think, they did 5 before I came, and I've done 4. This is my 4th term. And each and every term, I can give you detail from A to Z, what I've been able to achieve from the beginning of 2013 to 2016, from 2017 to 2020, 2021 to 2024. Can
you help us understand some of those achievements? Okay, you say that it's going to take the whole day, but let's be brief about it. In education, for instance, what have you been able to do since you were elected MP?
Okay, education, let's start from Aminapa. Aminapa, I have 1 nursery school there. Then when we come to Amlakpo, 3-unit classroom block. You come to Lufenya, 6-unit classroom block. You come to DA school in Big Ada, 3-unit classroom block. You go to Atoje, 3-unit classroom block. Then you go to Faith Kope a 6-unit classroom block,
Right.
which will be commissioned next month.
Right.
Then you go to Islamic school in Kase Islamic. I have 6-unit classroom block over there. So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't the topic for today.
Yeah.
Like I've brought you a list. And
indeed.
I have achieved a lot.
You're right. When it comes to women leadership, there's a lot of skepticism around it. People say that women are their own enemies. I'm sure you've heard it many times. Even this afternoon, you've mentioned it.
Yeah.
People say that women leaders tend to be very bossy. They tend to be very unapproachable. And they tend to exert so much power because they feel they are women. They feel like they have to exert so much power to be respected in society. And these are some of the genuine reasons that Ghanaians, when you speak to most of them, even women, they would rather have a male leader than have a female leader because of some of these reasons. Are these just hearsays or rumors, or these are factual things that are happening that you feel the women should change?
It's 50-50. Some are true, some too is just exaggeration. When you have a woman, a female MP, and it's not up to your expectation, change her with another female.
Why should we change her with another female comfort?
So that we don't reduce our number. A time will come, they will wipe all of us away. Me.
That's never going to happen.
Me, if it's Ada alone, any man that is coming, then look for iron gloves, not the rubber one, because I will punch you and you fell and roll the carpet.
Do you think Ghana has made progress when it comes to women in leadership? At least right now, we have the affirmative action law. Right now, as we speak, we have a woman vice president. We have some, big companies, big conglomerates where the bosses are women. We have the media. Some media houses have their bosses as women. Telecel has a woman boss. And other key institutions.
And we have a woman as vice president.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Yeah, we are making the progress.
Have we done enough?
But we need to do more. We are making the progress. We can see that we are making the progress. But all that we are asking is to improve on it and protect it. You see, if you look at the percentage-wise from 92, you can see that we are improving, but just that is just slow improvement. It's not as much as we expected.
Right.
And Ghana at 70, and we are at 14.5%. No.
You think
it's a big no.
Do you think you will see a female president in your lifetime?
In my lifetime, yes.
Would it be you?
Why not? If who said I can be a grassroots president for Ghana? If I'm
president of Ghana,
president of Ghana, a grassroots person who have reason to be the president of Ghana, you think it cannot be possible?
I'm just asking.
It's possible. The women in the market, their accounting is even better than those in the office.
Why do you think no woman has ever stepped up to contest for flag bearer in the two major parties?
A time will come. Yeah. The due time will come. And women will step up. Time will come. They need the encouragement and the other things. So you just relax.
The 41 women caucus in Parliament, which you lead them, what are you going to do to ensure that these women in Parliament are, one, protected, and it spreads across? We have other executive arms of government. I think that when it comes to the judiciary, we've done tremendously well. We've seen about 3 female chief justices.
Yeah.
Yes. So the other arms of government, what is your caucus going to do to ensure that the women in Parliament are protected, get more, and it spreads across the other arms of government, and even spreads outside of government?
That's why I said we will move the motion in the House, that we'll do a broader consultation. All those who matter will go to them, will consult them. We have even started talking to some of the stakeholders already, and we will still do the talking. And we are united about this. The House is united about this. So as their chairperson, I will not let it go under the drain. We will continue with the consultation and make sure we get something to protect women. We are not asking for more. Even if we cannot go beyond the 41, let's protect the 41. That's all we are asking.
The women who are in Parliament, you say you are in your 4th term. You've mentioned about their struggles, especially when it comes to financial muscle. They are unable to match the men's financial muscle. But what do the women caucus in Parliament do to support other women who you feel are in vulnerable seats that could slip out of their hands in a twinkling of an eye? Do you do anything to support them financially?
And actually, we don't have that muscles to support them. But let's say 2020, before the primaries, we move in to support some of the women in their constituency and tell the constituency the reasons why they should vote for them. And this time too, we are going to do same. We will move from constituency to constituency, but we want to finish with the consultation first and then move the motion in the House first before we start going to the constituencies. If your MP is a female and he's not performing, call the MP, sit the MP down. Look, don't just say he's not performing. MP, improve on picking your calls. You are not picking your calls, so just improve on it and then sit with her for her to start that improvement. Then when it's about education, MP, we have not seen much about education. Why? Then MP, don't feel shy. Tell them your salary. Put your common fund on the table. And you can even sit with them and say, okay, if this is the money, then let's put 40% for education, 20% for health, 20% for this, 20% for this. When the money comes, they themselves are aware that, look, this is what government has given and this is what we are sending to education side. So we are all working together. Don't feel too boxy. In the work, you cannot do it alone. Work with the people who elected you. Consult them. Consult your party chairman. Stop the quarry in the constituency and make sure you move with them, go with them. And then they will understand your pain and then work with you and make sure they support you to go and go. Look, those who continue changing their MPs like they are changing panties, if you don't know the harm you are causing to yourself, if you know the harm you are causing to yourself, you will stop it. You will stop it and start talking to your MP and judge with her and see improvement in her and maintain her so that your MP can have voice in the chamber. If you just come, you don't have voice in the chamber.
Do you have voice in the chamber being a deputy majority chief whip? Your job is to do the bidding of the NDC and make sure that you whip the members of the NDC in line in Parliament. Are you able to do that as a woman?
I do it a lot.
Even to the men?
To all of them. I'm their mother. All of them, I'm their mother. So I whip everybody and I respect them because their constituency saw something in them and brought them to the chamber. They are not your children. So you have to give them the maximum respect and work with them respectfully.
Not long ago, we've been seeing certain MPs, unfortunately, lose their lives, mostly male. And then you see that their wives end up contesting that particular seat. Most of them win. Some are unsuccessful. Even recently, the one at Ayawaso East. People have said that that is a bad trend of female MPs trying to succeed their husbands when they die. What's your take on that?
Not at all. You know why?
A good one?
You know what?
Tell me.
When the MP contests and win, you spend a lot of money with the hope that you'll get some salary to pay the debt, with the hope that you'll get some money at the close of your term to clear the debt and also get something. So let's say you've gone for loans and other things, and you pass on within 1 year. Within that 1 year, you have left that chunk debt to the wife. So if the wife is educated and he can finish your term so that he can get the money to defray that debt, we are okay. That's why at times we look at it, because we are in the soup and we understand the game. Yeah. That anytime you go for election, you spend a lot of money.
But MPs...
Some go ahead to sell their properties. I know one of the widow in the house who lost the husband in the north. Even recent election, he sold one of the properties.
Is it the one who contested in the Ayawaso East?
No, not that
or
one.
You will not tell me?
I will not tell you the name, but the person is there. He sold one of the houses. You see, so the men too, that's what they do. And I know people who sold their properties in East Legon to come to the chamber. Those who don't have those properties, they go for loans. And at times the wife guarantees those loans. You see, so that's why at times when it happens that the woman went to step into the shoes, if the woman is not doing anything serious that can pay that debt, we said, okay, why not? But if the woman, look at the one who died in the recent one at the MPP guy who died, I forgot the name.
Akwetia.
Not Akwetia. The one Ajuso. Before Akwetia.
Is it Ajuso?
And the wife was a pastor.
Ajuso.
Ajuso. You know, the wife is doing well.
Yeah.
And the wife feel, oh, even if there is something I can manage. So even when they consulted her, she said she's not interested. Nobody will be interested that if I'm doing well, I will step into my husband's shoes to take over and then continue from there. But if the woman doesn't have any other business and he can write, he is well-educated and he can continue so that he can get something and take care of the children, why not?
But it's quite interesting because usually we hear MPs saying, oh, the work of an MP is very difficult. You have your constituents lining up on your door every weekend to ask for money. Your pay is not enough. You don't have this. You have to go to funerals. You have to go this. But here you are telling us that most of them sell their houses, their properties, to come to Parliament. They use some of their houses and properties as collaterals to come to Parliament. Why? Is there some money that they share in Parliament that they use to pay off these debts that we're not aware of? What really is in that Parliament?
If you are new coming, you feel it's something that is lucrative, that you can come and get your money quickly and pay off. But when you get in before the reality will dawn on you, and you realize that, hey, where have I come? Why did I even worry myself to step here? Yeah. But the problem is now you have come and you have been given the title honorable. Now, if you leave and you went to work in Joy FM, are you sure the director will employ you to be calling you honorable? No. They won't call you they will employ you to call you honorable. So if you look at all these things, then you say, let me sit and finish eating. Then you are there. So but if you don't love the job, don't come. If you don't love working on people, human beings, if you don't have that sympathy and that flair, don't come. Because it's about human beings. It's about your community. It's about projects. It's about development. So the human beings will call you. They will come with their problems. And you should be able to do something about it. The moment they vote for you, apart from God, they see you as their next God. That you can conjure all magic to give them job. You can conjure all magic to take their poverty away. You can conjure all magic to bring projects to the constituency. So you have to be up and doing so that you can cope with them, work for them, listen to them, pick their calls, love them, and mingle with them. If you can't do it, don't try it, because it's not a place that you come and be boxy. You are the boss and they are the slaves. It doesn't work that way. You are the slave and they are the boss.
Are you sure that's what really happens, that the MPs are the slaves and then the constituents are the bosses? Because it's usually the other way around. We see that the MPs behave like bosses.
If you look at it the other way around,
it's not looking at it. That is how it's portrayed to us.
No, you fail. Then you fail. Me, I see them as my bosses. I see them as my key makers. So that's why the love between me and them is very cordial and tight. Because they call me, I pick. I listen. What I can do, I tell you the time I'll be in the constituency, come and let's sit. And when you come, whatever I have, we share. If I don't have, I tell you, I give you time to come back. Then we all sit on it. You can use the people and dump them. They will vote against you.
What is the biggest challenge facing the people of Adan as we speak today?
The biggest challenge now is our roads. Water has been solved partially. We have seen a significant improvement on it. Our main road from Kase to Adafo, but there is assurance. The biggest assurance that I got is from our brother Ibrahim Mahama, who has promised that the Kase to Adafo road, there will be a concrete road. They want to start from Adan to see how the concrete road will go. And I asked why. And he said because of the clay nature of our road. So he's talking to the road minister so that they start something from there. Because when they put the asphalt, within a short time, you will see bumpings on the road. So they want to do a concrete road over there. Then our 10 kilometers road, that one is going to we'll start from Totope. We'll start that road from Totope downwards, Pute, from Pute, Alavanyo, from Alavanyo, then we come to Sochokpa, Anyakpo, then we'll be descending to Mataheko to we'll pass through the Chekope and all, then we come to Okansekope before we get to. So I would like that road, the contractors will start from Totope, because if we don't start from Totope, we'll leave them behind. You've been
MP for 4 terms. Why is that road and the numerous roads there, why are they still not tarred? And also, on most of those roads, there are no street lights as well.
I have been MP for 4 terms, but I have been in government for the first term, when I came the first term. And it was the first time that we started the asphalting Kase to Adanfo, and before we could say Jack, the contractor couldn't speed up the work for us, and we went to opposition 8 years, and for the whole 8 years, the road was not touched. For the old 8 years, we didn't see one gravel in any of our feeder roads. But thank God we are back to power, and as my brother, my father, my friend Ibrahim Mahama has promised the concrete road, I'm relying and hanging on it, and I'm telling him that always my nails are on. I'm on my nails playing for him, so that road that he has conceived, that we have to get concrete road, it should come to pass.
Right.
And if you go to Adafo Township Road like this, we have started and they have done the gutters. Just 3 days ago, I spoke to the contractor that he should move to site and start the re-glavering of Adafo Township Road, because me, myself, I'm getting out of patience, because that thing must be completed for the users of the roads to get to start benefiting. But the Obane and Luwese, the contractor, has moved to site again, and they are re-graveling the road. So very soon, from Totope coming, we will start that one too. But from Kase to Ada for Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, I have left that one for you.
What about the street lights?
Street lights. We always, no, there is. Even recently, go to my Facebook page.
Then they are not working because
a lot, and this
from Cassette to Adam.
You follow me this Easter, and you.
I will.
You will see.
Where are we going?
This Easter, I will be in the Constituency. Easter Saturday, we will be in the Heritage Lodge at Adafo, and the whole Parliament choir are coming there to sing for the good people of Ada.
That shows the tourism potential in Ada, which it seems that you're not exploiting them.
So I'm inviting all my Doyo babies, my constituency executives, all my elders, church elders, everybody, traditionalists, the chiefs, to come and sit and listen to parliamentary choir. Aren't we blessed that the whole parliament is coming to Ada this Saturday, Easter Saturday, to sing for the good people of Ada, to relax us. Then as we were relaxing, they will relax us. I'm going from community to community, which every community will get street lights. Bulbs, we will fix bulbs, and we will fix street lights. And we are going to give farmers seeds, fertilizers, other things, and the youth who are going to play the Easter marches and other things, your jerseys, your football, get ready for you.
Briefly.
And I will be with them, and I will just come there and pamper all of them, pamper my good people of Ada.
Briefly, let's talk about President John Mahama's performance. He's been in office for 14 months now. How would you rate his first year in office? There were a 10 over 10?
Yes.
Why?
10 over 10. Do you know our biggest enemy in Ghana?
Tell me.
The biggest enemy is dollar. Our biggest enemy in Ghana is dollar. Because if, let's say, you see a pure water person and you want to buy and they have increased the price, everybody, their excuse is dollar. So if somebody can match the dollar boot by boot and then stabilize the dollar, that person, how do you want to raise it? Because when it comes to transportation, it's the dollar. When it comes to buy and selling, it's the dollar. When it comes to farm products, it's the dollar. We want to travel, it's the dollar. Because anything you do is the dollar.
But is it sustainable, though? Because there are concerns about the intervention by the Bank of Ghana on the forex market.
Come again?
There are concerns that the continuous intervention by the Bank of Ghana in the forex, which is stabilizing the local currency, is not sustainable.
Why it will be sustainable? Atufasin will do the magic. Let me tell you, the monies that they will pump into it for Ghanaians to have freedom, for the dollar to stabilize, is better than keeping that money somewhere and people use clever way to steal it.
Let's talk about his predecessor, Nana Akufo-Addo, who was president for 8 years. You've ranked John Mahama's government 10 over 10, which a lot of people will raise questions about. I'll come back to that, but briefly, how would you rate the previous administration of President Akufo-Addo out of 10? What
was the performance of the dollar? I rate Mahama because of the dollar, 10 over 10. What was the performance for the dollar? They pick it from 4 cedis, 70 pesos, and they ran with it to where?
It was 14 cedis in January when the president, the former president, was leaving office.
Okay, so if somebody picked dollar from 4 cedis, 70 pesos, and took it to 14 cedis, something, and somebody too came and picked it from 14 cedis and brought it down to, let's say, 11 cedis, How do you compare the two?
So how would you rate him?
I will leave it for Ghanaians to rate it, because when the dollar was running, the same thing Ghana too was running, and we were all running, and we were not we were not getting space to brief, but now we are briefing.
We have about a minute to go. I want you to address your people in your local language. 1 minute. Dangbe, let's go.
Yo ye nyemi menye he manye he ka no fe no ngesaminya ikpanye pe nye biyo doyo jino ne ingeke hanye ni ne sane wa pe ne nye buane jo nye blomu nyome wange he munyu tuen so hano wange decision ko take nge wa bloma he wake road minister nye na ne na kuchi na ne prayer miami ko ne ko wa ya munyu papa he ne jepo ami cheki ba ibasu amangbe wa heso aho inge mam kiba ikenyele mahima wa maje copy wa maya copy fe copy wa mabasla copy ome wa mabaye kan blome ne je mami ke blonya ke ba mami one kenge kelo le wa maboni drum wa ke siza copy machome ya tumunyumo ne aha wo bloka wa ba twa gravel no wa ke dranye blome kra hanye ikpanye peke no konge kokko ngla kokpa nye ko panya wo no hi nye bi yodoyo ye twi ngenye hi nye twi nya no lima chu hanye nene nye twi so lima pe hanye Easter no nye kla nye ba nenelejo nge heritage lodge parliament okra akedoyo wa maongu wa mawabalaha adabi ne a relax wa mawo wa musicians so menge mami neji wadangwe musicians so komeka futu ne a relax wo doyo babies nye ba ne mahenya wa tu macheme ke wa osofo hi wa executives hi wa branch executives ho ikanye klama heritage lojo le wa mape gbidi ke wa gbenyanga le jope wa nge copy o mami se o nye kande nye football nye jersey nye nome klama wa ba wo bob chowi o menga gbogbo o mai kla hanye ne wa su kanu o me kla nge bro hanye mo hu mi benga swepia boy yo mi mane ne nye fertilizer me hu wa troba hanye kanye chupa me nye gbadu me before me omo nene me nye du omo nye pe ready wa tro kla kema well,
thank you very much, Comfort Duyo, for joining me in the studio this afternoon. It was really good having you here.
Thank you.
She is the chairperson of the Women's Caucus in Parliament and also the MP for Ada, and also the Deputy Majority Chief Whip in Parliament. Well, let's stay on politics this afternoon because it's barely 24 hours to the much anticipated Democracy is Not for Sale Forum in Tamale. JoyNews, through the Impact Makers Foundation, is leading a nationwide citizen-politician dialogue aimed at confronting the growing influence of money in Ghana's politics and driving reforms. The initiative seeks to spotlight issues of vote buying and illicit political financing while aggregating citizen voices to shape an evidence-based citizens' blueprint for campaign finance reform. Ahead of Friday's engagement at the Nat Hall at 4 p.m., the focus today has been on the youth, with students at the University for Development Studies, Tamale, sharing their perspectives on how money is influencing political choices. Faustina Safo was at the University for Development Studies earlier to engage some students. Let's listen.
These three beautiful ladies to have a conversation with me here on the JoyNews channel as we build anticipation. We earlier spoke to students from the Tamale Teaching University, and they shared with us their thoughts about vote buying. In fact, some of them called for firmer sanctions against politicians caught trying to induce voters. And so we're here to solicit their views, aggregate voters' voices, even ahead of that dialogue, because we want to ensure that we're not having this conversation in a vacuum. We want to develop a blueprint for policy change moving forward. And that's why I'm here to interact with students from UDS. So let me start with you. What's your name?
Please, I'm Patricia.
Patricia what?
Patricia JoyNews.
And you are in what level?
I'm in level 300 Public Health Disease Control.
Great. And you are?
Latifa, level 300 Public Health Disease Control.
And you?
Mutiatu, level 300 Disease Control students.
Interesting. And so, just ahead of our national dialogue, we're soliciting your views about vote buying. I'm sure you've had the opportunity to vote before. Share with me your personal experience and your thoughts about vote buying.
Actually, I've not voted before, but buying votes during voting is no good because it will lead to poor leadership choice. In this case, people will choose a leadership by choices or like because the person gave them money before voting, they will vote for her. Meanwhile, the person is not having the capacity for, like, the person is not having the capacity to rule the country.
And you quite interest me because you say you haven't voted before, but you're in level 300. Is it the case that you are not interested in voting at all?
No.
Okay, you're not up to the age to vote?
I'm out, but like, I was in Tamale here when they were doing Ghana, voters ID. By then, I wanted to do Tamale here, but because I'm not from here, I stopped and I wanted to go to teach my Dubai. I didn't go, but this year, next year, I'm planning to vote.
Okay, so it means the next elections you'll be voting. So let me come to you. Have you voted before?
Yes.
What was your experience during the voting?
During my voting, my experience was like, when it's time for voting, people will come to the various houses and be offering gifts for people to vote for them. And I think it's not good for us, the citizens, to be doing that. So I think the government should put some penalties on it, both bias and those voting, so that it will reduce vote buying.
Wow, you've made a salient point, and I'll come to you to also get your thoughts on that. She's proposing that the punishment shouldn't only be on the politician trying to induce voters, but also on the voters who actually collect the money as well. So what's your thoughts
about the vote buy?
Yes.
I think it's bad for modern democracy because according to our constitution, we have the right to vote for anyone that you want, like to join any political party. And I think the vote buying is against that thought because they come to persuade the people. They'll give them, for instance, the villages, they'll go there and give them Maggie cubes, ordinary Maggie cubes, but because they are poor, they'll vote for them. So I think it takes away their right to vote for whoever they want. So vote buying is not good.
And you make a point about how the poverty level actually aids some of these things. If someone is poor but has the voting power, how can we ensure that they are not being induced by politicians?
So I think there should be an education about voting, how to vote. The government should, not even the government, even the assemblymen, they should organize the communities. It shouldn't be necessarily in English, even their local dialect, for someone to teach them about voting and tell them that voting is free and you are free to vote for whoever you want. I think that one will go a long way in helping to curb this menace.
And I'm interested in that point you've made, public awareness. That's why we're in Tamale, and that's why we'll be visiting some other 9 regions to create awareness, because at JoyNews, we believe that your democracy is not for sale. And so let me come back to you. You made a point about the need to ensure that moving forward, individuals who are induced by politicians, they are punished for even taking the money in the first place. But someone will argue that as a young person, if a politician gives me a gift, why shouldn't I take it? What's your thoughts about it? No, but you can express yourself. Feel free. If a politician brings you money, why should I not take that money?
If I was the one, I would take the money and still vote for the right person I want to vote for.
Okay, so you are the typical we should fear delegate.
Yes.
Okay, your thoughts?
Me, I think you shouldn't receive it because sometimes when a person receives something from someone, it would be difficult for the person to go and vote for a different person. It would be like the person is maybe committing a crime for taking something from someone and go and vote for a different person. So when you show some penalty on it, for people not to take it and for people not to also give it, it will help.
And another strand to the conversation is about illicit political financing. We've heard of political leaders, when they are elected into office, they have to ensure that they, give back to the individuals who help finance their campaign. How can we deal with that effectively?
I think they should launch investigation programs to look into those matters, and if anyone is found guilty, there should be some penalty that they have to pay for it. They shouldn't let those people go scot-free, so that it will serve as a lesson to others.
Mm-hmm. A salient point she has raised, that we should ensure that we deal with the politicians who have been receiving monies from illicit avenues, and ensure that moving forward it serves as a deterrent to those who have voted into office. I'd like to come to you because you have a very interesting point which you have made about voting. We should take the money, you say. Why should we take the money?
Why should I take the money?
Yes.
Maybe I want money to do something, and you brings me money, I should take the money and vote for you. To me, if you bring me money for vote, I will take. But on the voting date, I will not vote for you because I have my rights. I have a right to do everything I want. So it's not, you can't use your money to influence me. So you giving me that money doesn't mean I'm going to vote for you. So.
And that's quite interesting. Thank you so much for your thoughts here on the JoyNews channel. I've been engaging students from the University for Development Studies. They've been sharing their thoughts about vote buying and illicit political financing and how they think we can deal with this effectively. We heard from some of them tell us that awareness creation is key. We should ensure that we put in stricter, firmer sanctions against politicians and even voters who collect monies from politicians moving forward. They feel that that's the way to end vote buying, and they feel that campaigning from government angle in terms of creating awareness is also a way to empower those in deprived communities to have a different mindset about voting and how it is imperative for them to maintain their power whilst they go to the polls to decide who will steer the affairs of the country. My name is Faustina Asafo, and I'm wondering, if you're not ready to be a part of this conversation, what exactly do you want? So join us on the 27th of this month at Nat Hall. It's happening tomorrow. The countdown is on, and we will be there live at 4 p.m. on all our social media platforms, on JoyNews, on Joy 99.7 FM, just to ensure that we bring in the policymakers, the stakeholders, the politicians, and of course you watching out there, our wonderful voters, to get their thoughts on how best we can deal with vote buying and illicit political financing. Have a wonderful day. Over to you in the studio.
Well, thank you very much, Faustina Asafo, all the way from the northern regional capital of Tamale. Now, the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Nketiah, has assured Guineans that developmental projects initiated by the MPP government will be continued by President Mahama. According to him, national development must not be halted simply because of a change in government, stressing that projects funded with public resources are meant to benefit citizens regardless of their political affiliation. Mr. Nketiah made the remarks when he addressed party supporters during his ongoing thank you tour of the Ashanti region.
Your province no back on the say. Your bar, whether it's Yadi or Mansi Class, Yeno. Yen Emanin said to set your woman no jay, Yema, a bisa Yeno. Now at your Mansi Class, Bibiasi. Now, Bana, point is one inti.
One of the things the MPP keeps saying that I side with is that some of the projects we are tackling now were started by them. But this was one of the major promises we made during the campaign period. We don't intend to stall any project started by the previous government because we are from different political parties. We won't waste our resources. We are assuring everybody that we will continue with it all.
Say ebi aba beyadia na omanu sika akochemu a nyetu akase esense nye party na chase enti yenyai emane nsai saa dwumadi no eye abro ni bayi ye de ye nye saa ye beto aso ni aye na ewo amfacho ama wo mu a wo mu di to edigu abai futuo mu se ye mfanya adwuma no.
Politics. Former Member of Parliament for Subin Constituency, Eugene Boachientry, has engaged the Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party to formally inform them of his intention to contest for the position of General Secretary of the party. The meeting forms part of his consultations with key stakeholders within the MPP ahead of the party's internal elections. Mr. Boachientry said the engagement was aimed at seeking the blessings, guidance and support of the Council of Elders as he pursues what he describes as a vision to strengthen the party's structures and administration. According to him, the role of General Secretary is critical to ensuring effective coordination and unity within the MPP as it prepares for future electoral contests.
Following my engagement with the National Council of Elders today, I express my sincere appreciation for the opportunity to share perspectives on the future of our great party, the New Patriotic Party. The message from our elders is clear. The strength of the New Patriotic Party lies in its unity, discipline, and our unwavering connection to our base. Consistent with party guidance and guidelines, I will continue to engage with the appropriate frameworks. At the same time, the message from our grassroots is clear. We must reconnect, we must reorganize, and we must restore confidence at the base of our party. This shapes my commitment to a unite agenda. Uniting our structures, nurturing our grassroots, inspiring confidence, transforming our organization, and ensuring victory for our party, our presidential candidate, and a parliamentary majority. That remains the focus of my general secretaryship campaign. Let me be clear and emphatic. Unity is not a slogan, it is our strategy. Our objective is non-negotiable. To secure victory for the New Patriotic Party, elect Dr. Mahama as the President of the Republic of Ghana come the 7th of January 2029 and deliver a strong MPP majority in Parliament. That remains my focus in this campaign. As General Secretary, I'll build a disciplined, data-driven and results-oriented party organization that delivers results. This is not about leadership. It's about delivery. Together, we will unite. Together, we will win.
When we return from the break, we'll take you to Parliament. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Pulse. Let's head to Parliament, where the minority in the House is accusing President John Mahama of breaching constitutional provisions on conflict of interest, intensifying their calls for him to immediately stop using a private jet owned by his brother, Ibrahim Mahama. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister and Minority Spokesperson on Lands and Natural Resources, Kweku Amprechum Sapon, argued that the President's continued use of the jet raises serious ethical and constitutional concerns. He claims the situation is further complicated by expectations that Ibrahim Mahama could bid to take over the Damang Mine, warning that the President's association with his brother's private business interests places him in a potentially compromising position.
The minority is formally considering a joint petition with civil society organizations, professional bodies, and concerned citizens on both the private jet arrangements and the Damang Mine process, as two manifestations of the same constitutional breach. The NPP, when it forms the next government in 2029, 7th January, will conduct a full forensic review of every aspect of this transaction: the pre-bid conduct, the Commission's internal communications, the tender committee deliberations, the financing arrangements, the mobilization timeline, and every contract and letter exchanged. Those who manipulated this process will be identified. Those who benefited illegitimately will be held to account. On the private jet, the president must immediately cease using his brother's aircraft for official travel for as long as Ibrahim Mahama companies hold, seek, or are in negotiation for any state contract, concession, or mineral rights. The presidency must publish a full accounting of all travel on Ibrahim Mahama's aircraft since January 2025, including dates, destinations, total cost borne by the state, and the estimated market value of services provided without charge. 3, the minority gives formal notice of its intention to refer the matter to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice under Article 287 of the Constitution for the determination as to whether the arrangement constitutes a breach of Article 284 and the President's own Code of Conduct.
Let's get talking and bring in anti-corruption campaigner Edem Senanu. Also joining the conversation is former UN governance advisor, Professor Bafo Ajimandria. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this afternoon. I want to begin with you, Edem. Does the president using his brother's private jet create a conflict of interest, as the minority is saying?
Not as far as I'm concerned. Typically, you have 3 forms of conflict of interest. You have we'll say potential conflict of interest, you have an actual conflict of interest, and you have an apparent conflict of interest. Perhaps the minority is dwelling in the space of apparent, where you might perceive or believe something may have gone wrong or could go wrong. It doesn't mean that there is an actual conflict of interest. And there are remedies when you are in a position of potential conflict of interest. You could recuse yourself, you declare your interest, and then the body you are working with take a decision. So until and unless they have a specific incident they are referring to, there is no breach, and it sounds very speculative. And so, no, I don't see where this actually, in terms of trajectory, is going.
And does it raise ethical concerns about transparency then, if there's no conflict of interest?
Yeah, I mean, what you need to understand is this: conflict of interest is not a vague, ambiguous thing. If it has occurred, what we are talking about is that your personal interests, as it were, have compromised your professional decision-making or conduct. And until and unless there has been an identified incident where we can say there's a personal interest that has impaired your professional judgment, it is all speculative. If Ibrahim Mahama, as it were, tenders for a particular project or contract, what one needs to do is to look at the data in terms of the tender committee, its decision making. Is there any aspect of it that one can then plug a hole and say, because of a certain influence, something changed? Until and unless something like that happens, this is all just circumstantial. There's nothing tangible we are talking about. So they need to appreciate what the concept is about, and then when they're articulating it, be clear. They need to be providing specific incidents or projects or issues that they are speaking to. Then we can make sense of what they are trying to say.
Edem, don't go here. Let me bring in Professor Bafo Ajimandria at this point. Professor Ajimandria, same for you. Do you share in the sentiment of the minority that there's a potential conflict of interest in President Mahama using his brother's private jet for official travels?
Well, thanks for having me. I think the whole issue could be resolved simply by Jubilee House being very transparent on this arrangement. First of all, President Mahama is a sovereign of this country, and the state is obliged to take care of him in every possible way. If for reasons that perhaps all of us know, because the state doesn't have a very reliable airport, and his brother happens to have one, and he wants to use it, there should be proper arrangement between the state and the owner of the plane. So it's not complicated. But when you do it without telling the people, without Parliament even knowing or making the arrangement public, then people have a right to suspect what is going on. Because his brother, and these are good people, by the way, I know both of them very well, they may mean well, but his brother is not obligated to transport him when the state is there. You see, the reason why some people are also confused is that we don't know whether he's doing it pro bono, in other words, he's not charging the state. And even if he's not charging the state, there are security implications of presidential travels. So what arrangements are done with the plane is being flown by our pilot, paid pilot, our airport pilot. We don't know that. So all I'm saying is, it has become necessary for the president to ride on his brother's aeroplane. All what the government should do is to inform the public exactly the arrangements that have been done. If that has been done, I don't think there's any problem. So I think it boils down to being transparent with the good people of Ghana, telling us, and everybody knows the state doesn't have a plane, even though I understand they took the old one and it's back. And if it's back and it's still not capable of flying the president around, his security is important for all of that. And therefore, if he's using a private plane, I hope our Air Force people authorize that they've inspected the plane and certify that the plane is in the best condition to fly our president around.
Right.
These are the concerns. But to do it without the knowledge of the people of Ghana through Parliament, for instance, in terms of the cost implications, maintenance implications, security implications, look, the president is not an ordinary citizen, right? He is number one citizen, and his security is a priority for the country. That's why I think people are raising these questions.
Right. The minority also raises questions about the potential bid for Damang Mine by Ibrahim Mahama. Does the Damang Mine issue heighten concerns about potential influence?
Well, let me put it this way. Personally, I'm happy that Ghanaian indigenous people are beginning to take ownership of our resources. So I'm personally very thrilled that a Ghanaian is taking over the mine. And I hope we can go further for other Ghanaians to take ownership if they have the means of these kinds of local industries. So that's my first. Second point, sure, if Ibrahim has the means to do it must be done according to the law, transparently, and everything else. Okay? But I know this issue has come to haunt us in many instances. You remember before, when he was president, he had a son who acquired a hotel. You remember that controversy over it? The argument was like, if you are the son of the president, you cannot buy that kind of hotel because there could have been some influence in raising the loan and all that. We debated this for time on it. This was in the 2000 when President Kufuor was the president. Okay? Now, we have a president whose brother is also a business person capable of doing business. The fact that he's the brother of the president, should that stop him from again doing business? No. But we just have to be sure that all the laid down rules and procedures and legalities are fully respected. Tax payments and everything is done. Once these are done, again, we don't have to be worried that he is a president's brother and he has on the mind. You see, like I said earlier, my personal wish is for as many Ghanaians as possible to begin to take ownership of our natural resources and our industries in the country. That will make our economy home-based. Profits will be plowed back into the country. So that's important. So again here, I'm raising issues about, if you want transparency, the arrangements, the rules, everything follows properly. But I don't see any problem with it.
Right. Adam, you're still with me. Do you see any truth in what the minority is saying, that it could, influence the potential takeover of Damang Mine by Ibrahim Mahama?
Not really. I think this is all speculative. And I think that Prof gives us the best route forward. I think transparency on all these issues will help.
Right.
And I agree with him absolutely that if the presidency wants to make sure that Ghanaians are comfortable, there should be transparency relating to the utilization of that plane that belongs to his brother. So we are sure security concerns have been catered for. We are sure that there's no exploitation of state resources or undue advantage being given to his brother as a result of this arrangement. Let the details be provided. I think that will then secure clarity on whether there is really an actual conflict of interest or not. I think the issue of any other mine, it's about the process. If a committee is set up, they go through the processes. If Ibrahim Mahama wins and all the data is out there for us to analyze, we go to draw the conclusion whether there was any influence or not. And I agree with Prof absolutely. Let's not begin to weaponize conflict of interest and begin to suggest that members of the family of the political class have no right to run businesses or to seek for contracts. I mean, all that kind of thing only, eventually traps them. They make this political talk when they are campaigning, and then they get into government, and then they cannot, as it were, conform to what they themselves have said, and it looks like they are all just being, I think that let's be real. There's no problem with a member of the family of the president being in business, seeking where he can to apply his resources to also, continue doing business. I don't see any problem with that. The thing is the transparency. Let's analyze whatever transactions occur subsequently and tell whether there was any influence or not. And to the extent that we can't find any such thing, allow people to do their businesses, allow Ghanaians also to be part of moving this country forward.
Adam Senado, thank you very much. He's an anti-corruption campaigner. And earlier we heard from Professor Bafo Ajimandria, who is a former UN governance advisor. To the Ashanti region now, where the district chief executive for Achimampunia, Ibrahim Isaka, has assured residents that the 10 affected communities will be connected to the national grid by the end of next month. His assurance comes at a time when Ghana's rural electrification drive for 2025 is facing increasing scrutiny. New data from the Energy Ministry shows a major shortfall in the program. Out of 400 rural communities that were expected to be connected to the national grid in 2025, only 100 have been electrified so far. That means 300 communities, which is about 75%, are still without electricity. In the Ashanti region, the situation is already taking a serious toll. 10 rural communities in the Achimampunia district are gradually turning into ghost towns as residents live in search of electricity and better opportunities. For decades, these villages have lived in darkness, despite promises of an electrification project. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has more in this special report titled Dark Village.
When the sun sets, almost every activity in the small farming community of Bedabwo must grind to a halt. Total darkness consumes the entire village located on the outskirts of the Chimampunya district of the Ashanti region. In this darkness, I find Evelyn, a class 6 pupil of the Bedabo DA Basic School. She buries her head in an English textbook, reading a passage before school resumes the next day.
Very fast. There shows that nature is seriously making them already.
With a torchlight locked between her neck and shoulder, she squints her eyes to read each line in the book to hone her reading skills. Despite the discomfort, Evelyn forces herself to read on, afraid of falling behind her classmates.
The lights come on, and I feel so belly with tissue. Everywhere me in school, and as I'm about fear, I'm about me the lights, Shamakwan, but I'm at them, and as I'm about one thing. Sorry, and I upon school, my buffy, I'm about Babayadi. And you will just my detail, and I'm about Babayam home way. When I say a quanga, I'm some per se called Kitty. I'm meeting very opinion. Boy 10.
Evelyn wants to become a nurse because she cares about helping people in the community, but her dreams hang on the balance.
I'm very nurse in my pa. A bad bit now, boy, any had the amber. Sir, massive for more light and blown bet me a shine there were them. I also so light me as if a baby shine there be a damn now a shit. Now the law light as you come. Now they see the air. Me feel good. Every say mother for a new man there was a quiet and so about as I'm so much of this year. And so the channel is an one man so soon.
Minutes into her reading, her mother calls her for the torchlight. As the only source of light in the house, Evelyn quickly sets her books aside to help. Standing beside her, she directs the fading beam onto the condo her mother is preparing for their kinky business in the village.
I'm a train who we answer and son and now I'm so about me. I am a and no, I'm a jet at the year and to know by the time I did chain and a pana and now I will know so no, I will no awaken. We're touching away. Some man in French were touching away. He went to some.
For as long as they can remember, they and their neighbors have lived in darkness. The Bedabo community is home to more than 500 residents. In most households, lamps and mobile phone lights serve as their only source of illumination. On fortunate nights, they rely on the glow of the moon.
That's what we call Muachepa. First of all, you like to have you like to have it's a diet here. Yes, watch it. You're not a quadiatem. Say, I know you dream until I be a light on MIA. We are going to say, you can't cool in the boom, can you cook at one wahano? And so we do pursue a double try any light offer a idea I asked from ye pa.
As my okay, they are some concern or boss way. What can me all bomb in tankers yes? He said, me a cram moon fee the orchard near tree. Your womb crew ye. Can you ask somebody and claim a high papa? He said, I'm not young condition crying coso. Ya pima something. Intimina cra, intimina. A young man for teach crying and crying on school. And any buaba. And I'm saying, young crown coins of your crown and creaming me. And you may do me a crown and cut or addition gratusini.
Computer, ya this swear dear, and I'm light here any hanity, young colano, ICT, Omunya Biwa. And then ICT no sooner. Yet, Bibia, enti, a yadi dear Cassia.
Only 5 houses in the entire community have electricity, and that's because their owners can afford solar panels or generators. So when workers arrived in 2013 to erect electric poles and wires across the village, the mood changed. Some spoke about finally buying fridges and televisions. Others imagined their children studying under proper lights. For a moment, it felt like their turn had come, but the excitement did not last. The poles remained standing, the wires hanging quietly above, and the lights never came.
I am from NDC, MPP, NDC relay, NDC government for the last 4 years, and on belay. And MPP events are EBC here, transform BC up to this time, no action. And it was a buzzer.
Transformers worth thousands of cedis and distributed by government to the communities are wasting away.
What you see here is supposed to be a transformer that would distribute light into this entire community. And apparently, these transformers in all the 10 communities we have been to are having them sitting idle without lights. Some of them having the oil that sustains it dripping away. In fact, they are even covered by cobwebs and they have been abandoned at the mercy of the weather.
Up to this time, if we a stranger up to Yabo, it will crew up do away and put them here. Sa or how we die so.
A few kilometers away from Bedabo lies Mansaso, an almost abandoned village. Here, the story is no different. When contractors arrived to erect electric poles, residents welcomed them with excitement. Some even joined in, helping to carry poles and clear paths, hopeful that the community would finally light up at night.
Post no ni ade ni nyina no kromana na communal river and CC post ni nyina CC post no especially metal ones no ebi wo krampa na da be passe ya na ekutu amna na atam na de CC no yin say nka o de light no bebre last year because now as a ahoden na hom keka o de buy no just nya papa any odo say ye be ya adwuma say de be ya ekuro na to aso nyina e binya light. Now say ya nkwesiaga we say ya eda say ayo mframa na fire na mframa na eka egu no so uko nkra say streets nu a ebi guo bebre light in post bi abubu agu baby ana baby so de wires na say even corona to aso so krampo ya say omo transformers ni ade krampo no aye bibia wo ho.
Parts of the installations are already falling apart, wires dangling loosely, and some poles beginning to tilt. What was once seen as progress is slowly deteriorating, with millions of cedis worth of infrastructure now left to waste.
It has a free NDC pension. MPP should buy the same thing we are saving. And yet, we are the Bayaba. They are feeding any other pie, see and twaba ukruma. Mamma, like I am twaba be. Can you 7 dear? A higher pa. Mama, yes, I did. It do about to in your biaha.
A rather disturbing scene in a community is a mass exodus of the community folks to neighboring towns with access to electricity.
So this is a household, and ideally it should accommodate maybe some 10 individuals, but unfortunately, given the current condition in this place, that the community does not have electricity, many of them have abandoned this place. As you can see, the roofs are off. The entire structure is rotting away, and that is the case for many of these homes here at Mansaso in the Etrima Mponya district. For the many residents, they say a lot of the young people have left this community to seek greener pastures elsewhere.
The thatched houses are now engulfed in weeds with their roofings ripping off. The cocoa purchasing depot in the community is no more. It's a pale shadow of the facility that once received almost every bag of cocoa from farmers in this community and other adjoining areas.
Nti yeso yewo kura kitwa ma aha at least yenya kota your pipe water ba ko so ya yesansu num ana you say light ban so nya ho ka say obi a say de ebetimi mobilize youth na han kwan poma bia agric farming na de yetimi aye na so ye hwe ya ma nti uti ha ya ofun wo a jiso di kokrum ope bia jiso kokrum no akwakoto nti ma boys nso bebre omawa mugu say light na ma de ne ma yeso yentu ne nkofa ba bi fro na yenkotran omo bodaro say youth mra omanjuma ha ya more than 200 youth na bi hu omo ha say
so mututu obi a light ni yente ma na obi ampa more na 2% ya obi anya scan na okoye down percent ya no otu ha say obi anya scan na okoye down otoko obi etu because light ni ha na me ma na so obi apekane ya hwe light ya omo de efun yom de bibia nti omo nyina etu ko omo gukuro no makuro ni igu.
These girls I met in the village return home from school only on weekends, despite being day students at Mpasetia Senior High School. According to the 2024 National Energy Statistical Bulletin, 87.49% households across Ghana have access to electricity. The Ashanti region comes fourth out of the 16 regions, with 90.4% of the household population having access to electricity. However, in communities like Bedabo, the absence of electricity is affecting the local economy.
Bedabo, yeah, well, how? Yeah, may you cry a woman, and your man getting kitty beat says so, drink no man ke betimi aye na yenye sika kakra dia boa efie ni yenkwala suku sem no yentimi nye ye to blog fumba se eti ya ne de abegunsuo so no ya ton no ha ye koto blog no ye koto sobolo no bi de obi aye ni akoto no de kakra guemu am ya ton wa ha ye nya hwe enti ye sra ban se ye pese ye ne aye sobolo no bi na ye nton se de be ya ye betimi enye sika ye de aboa ye kunu no mu ne ye de aboa ye masuku sem
mo so light ne maya men frokai en kasa me ko charge me phone 1% ya me light baba me dem me charge me phone 1 me dem me so TV 1 me dem me nya fine adam me nya nsuo anwunu anom ti asra ban se wo twa na nya be sha twema mpanu ayi die ifo enshirafo na TikTok fo ba hai on my light ye de yasem nyina no ba ko pe on my light.
In these difficulties, their ingenuity sparks. Yao Mensa, a resident, has found an innovative means to illuminate his room. Joining a network of wires to a car battery, he taps energy from a defunct solar-powered street light to energize his home.
Light ni hondi bat apepre, nam ko fa ahomano free throw, nam de fa to krumha, nam de baba so battery mu. Nti battery we de charge no. Charge battery no. In
2025, the Electricity Company of Ghana invested over 2.7 million cedis to improve power supply in the area. The Sustainable Development Goal 7 aims at ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by 2030. With only 4 years to achieve the universal electricity coverage, children, adults, and leaders of the community have only but one appeal.
Let you know, Papa. I hear dear my say, nya, Sabe, Papa, Onam wing. Unum, Papa, you middle. Miss Ramos, my baby boy, bad dear, Miss Ramos say. Mungacha Papa, your mama say.
And as you can rightly hear, these children chant here. The only source of electricity in this community is the drone that we brought into this community, and that has sparked the debate for them to have electricity in this community. From here at Bedabo in the Echima Mponia district of the Ashanti region, my name is Emmanuel Ratcliffe.
We've also been hearing from the District Chief Executive for Achema Imponia, Ibrahim Isahak, who has assured the 10 communities will be connected to the national grid by the end of next month.
Thank God, within the same week, I visited them. I had opportunity to meet Deputy Minister of Energy, and he understood my case and made a contractor to come to site to complete the project. As now, there's a contractor on the side working to ensure that sooner than later, the community around the Badabo area enjoyed electricity. Madam.
Okay, but this has grown into a different problem, right? Because people are leaving the community. They do not have access to electricity, which is a basic thing that, of course, every Ghanaian should have. They don't have electricity, and so they are leaving the community. That affects development in the community, doesn't it?
That's right. That is right. Of late, any economy depends upon energy. Without energy, there's no way we can run any economic activity. So you for the day to want to do something. When there's no electricity, most of them will move out to the community. But I'm assuring them, when the contractor is on the site, maybe by close to maybe next month, if things work the way it's going, they may have the light, and other youth who have moved out will come back to the community and have life going there, madam.
Okay, so
we can now listen to the spokesperson for the Energy Ministry, Richmond Roxon, who says there is no load shedding, and he spoke on JoyNews today with my colleague Emefa Adeti.
There are some that you can put at 95%. There are some that you can put at 75%. Like I mentioned, if it's left with the issuance of meter, you're almost done. If you're doing customer engagement, you're almost done. If you've strung the lines and then you've done the mapping, and then that's also will mean that you've done significant. Some is left with the installation of transformer, and when the transformer is installed, you're almost done. And so, the government, we are committed to delivering electricity to all parts of Ghana. You will recall there's NDC from 57 to 75. Within his excellence will be delivered. If you look at this year's one as well, we still have that. When this government assumed the reins of power, one of the challenges that we had was with the audits. We had to do comprehensive audits. We had to put what we call MMU, the ministry's MMU, in place to be able to audit all the equipment and goods you had. And so that's also took part of the time. But rest assured that.
Let me understand. Under the National Electrification Scheme to definitely connect all communities, you promised 400 last year. Is that all we'll be seeing, or definitely there'll be emergence of new communities that's going to balloon this number? I want to see the projected figures.
2,000. As an order, works are going in 2,000 communities for this year. 2,000 communities. And so last year, like I said, of course, when there's a transition, it takes a bit of time because you have to audit and then do other works. But this year, so far, there are over 2,000 communities that we are doing various works.
Are you facing any challenge at all? Do you anticipate any challenge as well?
We don't anticipate any challenge at this point. Materials are available, contractors are on site, and so I'm sure that we'll be able to deliver that. Our target as a government is that by 2030, you should move to almost 100% electricity connectivity.
For this particular one, in the Ashanti region, Echima Mpunwa district that I just showed to my audience now, has it come to your attention? I see that there was a bit of work. I see that there's a bit of work that has been done, but you can as well see that some of the infrastructure that you had put in place is also falling apart. What's the status? The district assembly has been promising, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's not a bit of work. We did a comprehensive work. Unfortunately, as you rightly put it, the work started years ago. But after His Excellency left power, the work stalled. Contractor is currently on site. As we speak today, like they've strung the lines, they've done the dressing, they've installed transformers. We also have to do the transformer dressing. We also do the customer education as well. And then we also do the education, because once you educate them on these nights and how they use the meter, how to purchase prepaid meter. Once we finish that process, the next thing is that the meters will be issued, and that'll be it. And contractors currently on site, as the MCA mentioned, and we are certain that in the next few weeks, work should be completed.
In more stories this afternoon, according to the 2026 paternity test insights by Blueprint DNA, 42.3% of paternity cases in 2025 showed that the tested men were not the biological fathers. Speaking at a stakeholder and press briefing, the medical director of the organization, Dr. Abeku Gansa, added that younger men underwent more DNA testing compared to older men.
Paternity testing in Ghana is gradually moving from a private issue to a growing national concern. This is driven by increasing public awareness, rising demand for testing, and several high-profile disputes. Blueprint DNA has released the 2026 Ghana DNA Insights Report. At a media briefing, the medical director for the organization, Dr. Abeku Gansa, presented the report and highlighted key findings, including the high rate of paternity exclusions recorded.
So for the data we analyzed, we had 57.7 of the cases having an inclusion, which means the father was the biological father of the child, confirmed by DNA testing. 42.3% were exclusions, which meant that the father was not confirmed as the biological father of the child. The Western region, Upper East, and the Volta region had the highest exclusion outcomes, ranging between 63 and 67%. Ashanti and Greater Accra regions had exclusion rates which were consistent with the outcome of the research, and that was 38 and 40.
The operations manager of Blueprint DNA, Ben Gurion Zanos, also emphasized the need for greater public understanding of the various uses of DNA testing.
DNA spans across multiple sectors, namely health care, where, for instance, if you want to detect early genetic disorders, you can use DNA for that. In some cases, we have people with genetic disorders who would require personalized medicines. And so when you do DNA testing for that genetic aspect, you're able to coordinate and then create medicines that are personalized to that person's genetic disorder. And also, when you need a proof for legal information, there are also cases of missing children or child theft. In such cases where you have to confirm if actually the mother is the biological mother of the child. It also extends to the society, where, for instance, our diasporans, they want to find out where the ancestries are coming from. You can have the ancestry DNA test that will provide such information.
The report further reveals a growing trend of younger men seeking early paternity verification compared to older men.
The conclusion from our research was that younger men tend to seek early verification, and this resulted in lower exclusion rates, while older men delayed testing until there was higher rates of suspicion, and that led to a higher rate of exclusion.
The report recommends the integration of counseling into DNA testing services to help individuals better manage their results.
Dr. Abeku Gansa is a medical director at Blueprint DNA organization. He's joining me this evening to interrogate this urgent matter. Welcome to the program. Why are older men not interested in conducting DNAs?
Thank you and good afternoon to your listeners. From the findings of the research, we realized that a large proportion of when we analyzed the ages of the fathers testing, a large proportion of the fathers were between the ages of 30 to 49. So in the data, we had, let me put it up right here. we had about 60.8% of the fathers within those age groups. And then after 50 years, we had just 18% of the fathers represented. I think that might be also as a result of the large proportion of younger men in the population. What we specifically realized was when it came to the age of the children who were being tested, the younger men typically tested when the children were much younger, under 5 years. And then the older men also had children who were being tested after 10 years. And the longer the delay of testing, the higher the rate of exclusion. So after 11 years, the rate of exclusion for the test increased to about 53.6 to 59%. But then for the children who were being tested below the ages of 6, the percentage exclusion was about 36% to 39%. So that was a pretty significant finding from the study.
42.3%, that is the figure. That is the percentage of men who find out that the people they believe are their children are not their children after they conduct DNAs, at least according to what you've provided for us. Tell us, which kind of children do they find out usually not to be theirs? First child, last child, middle child?
So a point of correction or a point of contest. The research is testing or analyzing data from the men who submitted themselves for paternity testing. And therefore, that sample is not a direct representative of the general population. We need to understand that most of the people who would present for testing would already have some suspicion or some disputes, for which reason they might need the clarity the DNA testing is going to provide. And therefore, generalizing it to the entire population would not be appropriate. In the limitations of the research, we clearly mentioned the sample bias. And therefore, if we were to extend the study into the streets of, example, Accra, and we randomly selected 100 men, we would expect that the outcome of the testing in terms of exclusion would be much lower when compared to a group of 100 men who specifically presented to the paternity testing lab for analysis. Just to clarify.
That's well understood, but I wanted to find out which type of children do they usually find out are not theirs? Is it the first child, the second, the last child, the middle child? Did you find any?
Yes, so in our database for 2025, we did not collect data on the order of the children. However, the largest group of children who were being tested, let me pull the data up over here. So the largest group of children who were being tested were below the ages of 6. So below the ages of 6, we had 75% of the children being tested in that age group.
Right, Dr. Abeku Gansa, thank you very much. He's the medical director at Blueprint DNA organization there. You're still watching the polls here. Let's head to Parliament right now because it's official. The monopoly of the Ghana School of Law to administer professional legal education has been abolished with the passage of the new Legal Education Bill, previously called the Legal Education Reform Bill. The bill, which is headed to the desk of the President for assent, will decentralize legal education with universities to be accredited to run the program.
As many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
An act to establish the Council for Legal Education and Training to regulate legal education in the country, provide the curriculum and standards for legal education, and provide for related matters.
Honourable Members, that the Legal Education Bill 2026 is duly read for the third time and accordingly passed.
Let's still stay in Parliament and speak to our resident correspondent, Kweku Asante, who is joining us via Zoom with more. Kweku, first of all, tell us about the big changes this new bill is introducing to legal education.
Well, Ken, this is very seismic in the kind of changes that we are seeing. Since 1960, anyone who wanted to be a lawyer in Ghana had to do the LLD program in an accredited university. Then they would have to write an entrance exam. In fact, the entrance exam was started a couple of decades back, very controversial. Take an entrance exam and hope to get into the Ghana School of Law. That is where they do the professional legal education, the professional law course. And over the last few years, it's been very controversial. Every year, people go in there, and the number of failure very high. And so people have been clamoring for this change for quite some time now, and it's here. In the 2024 election, it became such a big political debate. The NDC promised that we're going to enact a law that will take away the monopoly of the Ghana School of Law, and that is what they've done. So the major change, one, is that the Ghana School of Law is no longer a monopoly when it comes to administering the professional legal education in Ghana. What this means is that some private universities, and in fact, generally, public universities and private universities will be accredited to run the professional law program. The universities of Ghana of today, UPSA, University of Education, UCC, UDS, every public university that meets the requirement that will be set up under this law can apply to be accredited to run a professional education, professional law program, and they can do so. That is the major change that we are seeing now in this new law that has been passed. Again, now there's not going to be anything like entrance exams. People are going to go through it. They're going to go to the professional law university, I should say. Then you go, let's say University of Ghana. You do a 3-year program. Previously, it used to be 4 years for those who came in through senior high school, and then post-first degree program was 3 years. Now, LLB is 3 years generally, uniformly at the university level, and then you do 1 more year of professional legal training in the same university, and then you'll be eligible to sit for a bar exam. That is the second change. And then the third change that is closely linked to the point I've just made is now the duration for the program is no longer 4 years. It is 3 years for both those who are entering from senior high school and those who already have a first degree. Those are some of the major changes. The General Legal Council, which used to be chaired, in fact, currently chaired by the Chief Justice, will no longer be there to administer legal education. There will be a council for legal training, which will be in charge of all of that. So very, very important and seismic changes that have been done to the legal education regime in Ghana as we've known it since 1960 up until now. That is going to change the face. But the bottom line for those who are just joining, and the key changes are that there will be no Ghana School of Law as we know it now. The school will still be there. It will do the post-call. But when it comes to the professional legal training, the universities are now to be accredited to run the program. Okay.
And Kweku, this bill was expected to be passed in early February. What caused this delay?
Well, yes, like you said, the Attorney General put this bill before Parliament just when Parliament returned this year, February 3rd. That is when they returned, and the bill was late subsequently. The expectation was that the bill was going to be passed in a week. In fact, in an exclusive one-on-one interview with Evans Mensah on PM Express, Majority Chief Whip Roxy Nelson, the Federal, was clear that they intended to pass this bill within a week or 2 maximum, but it delayed for quite some time, not really due to any opposition, but because the House wanted to take its time and go through the motions. This is such an important bill that is going to change the way things are done. And so they wanted to take their time, go through the motions at the committee level, at all levels, to ensure that the bill, when it finally passes, is ultimately one that is very good for the times and will outlast generations. And so they decided to take a lot of time and deal with it. And that is why it took quite some time. It was nothing to do with opposition. But when this bill was passed on the floor, Mahama, the majority leader, now says the NDC made a promise to Ghanaian that this is something that they intended to do, and they have done it. So promises made, promises delivered. Listen to my Majority Leader, Mahama Yaga.
We've made promises, and we are delivering on those promises. We promised law students that if they voted for us, we will carry out reforms that will ensure equity, fairness, and access to legal education. We have today successfully passed the bill. We believe that this is the dawn of a new era, where all students will be fairly treated. Whichever law school you go to, whichever law faculty you attend, all of us would end at the doors of the National Bar Examination. All of us, whether you went to Lagos, or you went to UDS, or you went to UCC, or you went to Winneba, wherever you went to law school, we will all end at the same place, which is the National Bar Examination. And it is there that lawyers will be determined. This is a promise that the NDC made, and we have kept the promise, and we want all to witness that we have kept the promise.
And Kweku, did the minority leader respond to this?
Yes, he was on the floor, Alexander Afenyomarkin. In fact, at some point, he attempted to arrest the third reading of this bill because he said he wanted that third reading to be taken tomorrow. But after some consideration, after some talks between the leaders, they agreed to take it. Of course, he started on a note and said that, well, listen, if the NDC wants to bask in this glory, he will give it to them. They made a promise, they've kept it. However, the NDC is yet to keep all the promises they made in the lead up to the 2024 election, including their promise on Women's Development Bank. And he catalogued some of the promises that, in his words, the NDC are yet to actually fulfill. But Ken, before you play Alexander Afenyomarkin, what is going to happen next is that the bill is going to go to the desk of the president. He's going to sign it into law as soon as he's back from the United Nations in the US. And then the government will then decide when exactly this bill will take effect. But listen to Alexander Afenyomarkin on what this means for them in the minority.
They said that as for sole sourcing, they would never do sole sourcing. Mr. Speaker, the president spoke about sole sourcing at the manifesto lunch. When he got into this chamber for the sonar, his first sonar, he talked about no sole sourcing. The second sonar, some few weeks ago, he again said no sole sourcing. The majority leader himself, at the dispatch box, when he was closing the debate on the sonar, re-echoed no sole sourcing. But today, we know that they are the apostles of sole sourcing. Mr. Speaker, they also said that in their government there will be no family and friends. They said there will be no nepotism. Mr. Speaker, they said that contracts will be open. Today we know that at the presidency, the deputy chief of staff has been awarded a sole contract, 11 million by Gold Board. This they said they won't do. Mr. Speaker, so I'm reminding them that the very things they said they won't do, they are doing. Mr. Speaker, they said cocoa, they would increase it to 6,000 per bag. Today they have reduced it to 2,500. So, Mr. Speaker, I am happy that the majority leader is saying that out of 10, they have only one success. Mr. Speaker, out of 10, they have only one success. The mighty minority told the people of Ghana that with time, they will see the true colors of the NDC. Ghanaians have seen the true colors of the NDC. And I'm sure, just as that poor cocoa farmer said, Mahama, what the
All right, so that's the minority leader there. Kweku Asante is still with me. Kweku, apart from this, what else is happening in Parliament today?
Well, it's a busy day today. The House is expected to go on break tomorrow. So a couple of the bills that are still on the agenda are being worked on. In fact, just when I step out of the chamber, they were working on the GIPC Act. They're trying to amend the current law. They're working on that. There are a couple of them still on the agenda that they will deal with, so that tomorrow it will be a light day. They touch and do a couple of the things that they have to do, and then proceedings will be brought to a close. But early on, there was a news conference by the minority side. They were alleging that there is a state capture involving Ibrahim Mahama, and that they are going to petition the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Charge to investigate the president for using the brother's private jet, which they say breaches the Constitution on conflict of interest. But also because of the president's use of his brother's jet, and that the Damang Mine that is said to be taken over by the state, they are looking at rigging that big process and handing it over to engineers and planners.
Kweku Asante reports to us from Parliament. Thank you very much. Let's just stay on this and speak to Kweku Asare, who is a former director of the Ghana School of Law. Grateful for your time this evening. What really is the significance of this new law?
Thank you very much. The significance is simply the fact that the entrance examination has been scrapped. It is one big leap, that the NDC government has achieved as far as widening access to legal education is concerned. Secondly, and let me clarify, the Ghana School of Law has not been abolished. It's just that the other faculties dealing with or engaged in the academic training of lawyers are to be added to the Ghana School of Law for the professional training. So Ghana School of Law has not been abolished. It is still there. The General Legal Council has not been abolished. It is still there. However, the General Legal Council's sole statutory responsibility now will be, to call lawyers, to the bar. So the General Legal Council's statutory duty of appointing directors has been taken away, been removed, and now, vested in, the new commission of Legal Education Council, that has just been established by virtue of the new Legal Education Act. So it's not, we need to make these clarifications, so that we don't confuse the minds of the general public. Thirdly, the public universities so prerogative, to train professional lawyers seems to me, to be reduced in a way. Then the duration of the professional law course has also been reduced from 2 years to 1 year. And as the majority leader did explain, what is going to happen is that all the faculties engaged in the academic phase of legal education are now also going to be saddled with the responsibility, professional training. So he did explain wherever, a student trained, for the academic program, that's the LSE, that, student may continue, where he pursued the LSE or into another place. Then all law students who have taken the LSE exam will now proceed to do a 1 year training, and upon successful completion of that 1 year training, will be issued, with a legal training certificate to entitle it to write the professional law exam. So who becomes a lawyer is now going to be determined at the end, of the 2 year, 2-phase training as the academic and the 1 year practical training. So cumulatively, there will be 4 years, and then upon successful completion of the 4 years, all the candidates will now sit, for the national bar exam, and that qualification will determine one's enrollment, onto the role of Ghana lawyer.
Some say quality will be compromised. Will that be the case?
That is a legitimate fear. To be honest, to be not honest, I think that the quality will be affected one way or the other. First of all, we don't have, the human resource capital, to do this 1 year training. We haven't given ourselves time, to fine-tune the edges. The lecturers engaged in the teaching of the LLB program, it is not all those lecturers that will, be suitably qualified to teach the professional program. To be, to be able to teach in the 1 year legal training program, one must be a lawyer, called to the bar or enrolled on the rule of Ghanaian lawyers. So one may be a professor of law, but if the person is not a lawyer, can only teach in the academic phase of the program, but not the professional phase of the program. And, that is where we are going to have problems, because some very good, teaching materials, to the extent that they don't possess the requisite qualification, will not, have the capacity to deliver professional law programs. And the few, who may be well qualified, to teach a professional program cannot go around all the faculties, and therefore, we are going to see a lot of academic galamsey, in the area of professional legal training. And, lecturers, are going to be exhausted and will not be able to give up their best. And some faculties are going to use, unqualified, tutors to teach them. And we don't have the personnel to police, the program. That is where my fear, is, as far as quality is concerned.
Right. Kweku Ansasari, thank you very much. He's a former director at the Ghana School of Law. Now, German President Steinmeier and Foreign Minister Wadpool have criticized the U.S. and Israel's attacks on Iran at an event in Berlin on Tuesday, with Steinmeier calling the war a political, fateful mistake that constituted a breach of international law. For more on this, let's cross over to Thomas Sparrow, a correspondent with our partners DW in Berlin. Thomas, how significant are those statements by those two political leaders?
They're also very controversial, especially the statement by Frank-Walter Steinmeier, which you just described a second ago, specifically because Frank-Walter Steinmeier is Germany's head of state. So a high-ranking politician here in the country that is supposed to be beyond politics, beyond political parties. So as such, a statement in this regard was not something that many had expected from Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Now, it's important to stress that Steinmeier, as head of state, is not the head of government. The head of government in Germany is Chancellor Friedrich Merz. So as such, it is not expected that this statement will have a concrete political implication. However, what many do expect is that it will increase pressure on the government of Friedrich Merz to clarify its position on the matter, because specifically Friedrich Merz and his government have not been as direct as we have just heard from Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the German president.
The current relationship between the U.S. and Germany now?
If you ask German politicians, they will always try and reinforce the idea that there are areas in which Germany and the United States not only need to work together, but are working together. So from the war in Ukraine to the war in the Middle East to climate change, all sorts of other global challenges as well. But the reality also behind the scenes is that there are areas in which the two countries do not see eye to eye, in which the two governments, the government of Donald Trump in the United States and the government of Friedrich Merz here in Germany, do not see eye to eye. And these international crises have certainly shown those differences between the two countries. What's important about all this is that both countries, to a large extent, need each other, because while Germany has stressed time and time again that it wants to work hand in hand with the United States, that it needs US cooperation when it comes to some of the big issues that the European Union is facing, the United States as well, for instance, has a very big military presence here in Germany, so it also wants to have strong relationships with Germany. But the reality is showing that there are certainly very important differences between the two when it comes to dealing with some of the biggest issues of our time.
And how do Germans see these developments?
Germans are concerned about the developments in the Middle East, and the statement by Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the German president, will probably resonate with many Germans. A nationwide poll that was released earlier this month actually showed that a majority of Germans believe that the US and Israel's attack on Iran was not justified. So that's why probably Frank-Walter Steinmeier was also understanding his comments and his views as something that is seen also among Germans here in the country. Beyond that, Germans are concerned about the impact that the war in the Middle East could have here in Germany when it comes not only to oil prices, that's something that is not only exclusive to Germany, but a concern in other parts of the world as well, but also more broadly to the economy. Germany's economy is facing very significant issues, not only now, but also in recent years. And as such, there was hope that it could begin to recover. And what this latest war reveals is that there are potential concerns that may even hamper that development even more.
Thomas Sparrow with our partners DW in Berlin. Thank you, Thomas. And that's it for The Pulse this evening. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. The news team returns at 7 p.m. with News Prime. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, have a good evening.